Hey folks, here at OS Reviews. This is a retro look back at the Samsung SGH-E105 cell phone. This is a dual band GSM handset, so you can't use it when you're traveling abroad in every nation, such as in Europe or in Asia, which was a limitation right off the bat. But it was an affordable 2G enabled phone at the time, and obviously uses a very traditional flip phone form factor. Now, in today's standards, this thing is absolutely ancient, but it was, again, one of the more popular flip phones produced by Samsung back in its heyday, and of course it came on contract with T-Mobile here in the States and sold for roughly $50 with a 2-year service agreement. On the front, he had a monochrome display, and this model did not even have a digital camera, which just shows you the extent of how technology has evolved since then. But you can see how it offers a pretty slim portfolio, I would say, at least for the time, and on the sides there's also dedicated volume controls for changing that, and also the ringtone settings, which is a highlight just because a lot of flip phones did not tend to have a dedicated control for that. So if you wanted to change a volume, oftentimes you had to dig through the menus, which made it pretty inconvenient when you're talking to someone or calling someone. On the inside, there's a relatively large display that fills up the space, and there's also a headset port. And down below here, you have access to a traditional T9 style layout for the D-pad, which is pretty responsive and easy to type on. You can see all the keys are fairly risen above the surface. They're also backlit to be seen under darker environments, so you can definitely type and press on these keys without really having to look at them too much. On the center here, there's a 4-way navigation toggle, and the center key here is not an OK button, but rather it takes you into the web browser, just like on the Samsung A770, which is not a very good feature, at least in my opinion, just because it tends to drain your service, your costs, because you tend to intuitively think that the center key would be for OK, but it's really not. There's also 2 hotkeys for the menu settings, and also talk and end keys that dubs as a power key, as well as a clear or a back key. On the very back here, you have access to just the Samsung battery, which actually is as part of the back door, so this is a piece that you have to replace if the battery loses its charge over time. And you have access to the full-size SIM card slot. This one was actually made in Korea as opposed to China, and down below here, this is the proprietary charging port, which came with most Samsung phones of its back in 2008, 2007, or so forth. So that was something you need to consider, because you couldn't just plug in a regular mini USB port and have it charged up. Now, as far as performance goes, back in the day, this one was pretty reliable as far as battery life and also call quality were both excellent, and you could get a pretty strong reception, and voice calls were excellent. Compared to smartphones today, obviously a phone like this can last you for 3-4 weeks if you use it sporadically and have it on standby mode, whereas smartphones will probably need to be recharged every 3 to 4 days. So obviously that's an advantage there. In terms of features, though, you had a very basic web browser on board. There is actually no Bluetooth on this model even, so you're pretty much limited just to that. A few demos of games on here that are extremely basic, and a color display that was a bit washed out as well. But at the time, it was popular just because it was compact and simple to use. But again, in 2015, we're now looking for elegance in addition to a powerful processor nearly in every single phone that we have. So again, a bit of a difference there. Anyways, an interesting look back here at OS Reviews. Thanks for watching this retro look back of the Samsung SGH-E105.